In the beginning there was Roger. He was the keeper of all the books of the world. One day he decided to create library land to store these books. First he installed reading lights. Then a great book lamp so his eyes would not have to strain to read. Then he created a vast garden, and he called it Alexandria. The Garden of Alexandria had unlimited space and bookshelves, and Roger saw that it was good. But Roger had no system to organize and maintain his collection. So he created Kay, the world's first librarian. And Roger said unto Kay, "Behold, I have given you every book in the universe, and I give you unlimited space. It is for you to classify these books, and the system you create forever will it be so. And you may read upon any of the great literature in the universe, anything except the one shelf, the bookshelf of good and horrible. You must never read from this shelf, or you will truly die." And Kay set upon organizing all the works. He gave them subjects, and grouped like subjects near. He created a system of classification, so that each book had its own individual number. And his days passed in such fashion, organizing and reading all those books which pleased him. But Roger noticed that Kay was lonely. So one day he created a sexy woman librarian, Carmen. They had great love for one another. They would spend their days reading, and at night they would do some sexy things. Then one day Carmen was returning a book to the shelf when she was approached by a bookworm. She was frightened, but he said, "Fear not, I mean you no harm." "So you can read any book in the garden?" he asked her. "Any book except from the one bookshelf, for Roger said if we read from there we will die," she replied. And the worm said to the woman, "You will surely not die. Roger knows that if you read from that shelf, your eyes will be open and you will be as him, knowing good and horrible." The woman looked at the bookshelf, and the books looked very tempting. So she picked up one Harlequin romance and began reading. Then Kay saw her, and she showed it to him, and he too read of the book. And the eyes of both of them were opened, for the book was horrible. Really, really horrible. It was later that Roger found Kay and Carmen reading the summaries on the back of books, and he said unto them, "Why are you reading the summaries? You have never needed to do so before." And Kay replied, "We are trying to determine whether the book is good." And Roger said, "Who told you that books may not all be good? Have you read from the shelf which I told you never to read?" And Kay replied that Carmen gave him from that shelf, and he read. And Roger turned to Carmen and said, "What have you done?" And she replied, "The bookworm tricked me and I read it." So Roger turned to the bookworm and said, "Because you hath done this, you will from here on be banned to beneath the ground, where it is always dark and you will be unable to see, and thus not able to read." So Roger drove Kay and Carmen out of the Garden of Alexandria and locked the gate, and said unto them, "Since you have chosen to read from the bookshelf of the good and horrible, you will now be forced to build your own libraries with limited funds and inadequate space. Your classification system will be jumbled into an obscure vernacular that people won't speak in regular life, and it will become very difficult to add new subjects. Your funding will come from government sources, meaning you will be underpaid and overworked. And finally, I will require of you to achieve a graduate education in order to work in a library. I will make this graduate program unknown to anyone not associated with it. So they will forever comment, "You mean you need a graduate's degree to shove books?" And with this, Kay and Carmen fell to the ground in tears.